Okay, here I am again. Yeah, I'm excited to meet you, Chris. Um, for those of you who don't know Chris, um, I'm one of them. This is the first time. It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure. Um, I've been thinking about how to pronounce your surname, Kalodikis.
It's Kalodikis.
Kalodikis. I thought
Kalodikis.
so. I knew that was
Yeah.
the way. Awesome. Okay, well. I decided to ask you, to sort of if you could share your experiences to do with technology
Yep.
integration, because I saw that you were the ICTE in New South Wales um, Educator of the Year in 2022,
It's
and I thought
it's a long one.
be, a good, you know, something really good, particularly in the last couple of years, since the pandemic occurred, it must have really been I mean, for all educators, a real sort of a struggle, obviously. But, for you to come out on top, on a time like that, it must have been truly special. Can you tell us a bit about how how it came about that you were, got the award?
Okay. Oh, thanks, Michael. And look, thank you very much for having me on here today. Look, yeah, in relation to getting that award, basically, key area that I got the award for those members would say it was networking and just communication at a time like this. And clearly, I can see that's something you're doing right now, obviously hosting this show. So look, well done, because it makes a difference. It makes a difference, dialogue and communicating with other teachers. At the specific time of the pandemic, you really did hit the nail on the head. Why I got it in 2022. I have my own YouTube channel, and it is targeted at specific year 11 and 12 subjects for the HSC. So when remote learning kind of happened, a lot of teachers saw it as a valuable resource here in New South Wales to use that. And then on top of that, they'd communicate with me about, oh, what can we do? How can we adapt? And, it's just about working with each other and getting through it. So I was very privileged to get that award because everyone was working hard at that time. And really, I was lucky that the thing that I was producing became very valuable at that point. So uh, developing online resources. So I think YouTube's a fantastic platform for doing that, because obviously syllabus content is quite deep, it's quite thick, and especially in the area of computing, which you and me have a background in, obviously, there's obviously textbooks and there's a lot of websites, but really targeting the syllabus, that's when we've got to kind of put our own teaching application onto that and target it at those specific areas. And sometimes we can't find the things relevant or in a comprehensible manner for our students. And that's where I use the YouTube videos. We make something and that becomes a resource then that all teachers can use through the channel. So that's what kind of led me to getting that pathway too. And then just openness to speak at their conferences and things like that. That's how I kind of got that award.
Oh, awesome, awesome. I mean, back in the day when I was teaching, you would have heard of QSite,
Yes.
the Queensland branch. So, like, I was actually a board member of QSite for a while, and was heavily involved in it that way as well. So I know how these awards mean a lot to those who get it. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. Even though it's 2 years, ago,
Yeah. No,
it's
thank you.
quite a good achievement. So you work, I think, still at Marist College.
Yeah, I work at Marist College, Cogra. I'm a leader of wellbeing there. So I'm on the ground working with students. And this year, with the Year 12 leader of wellbeing. And it gives you a very holistic aspect of the young people's journey in education when you're in the wellbeing field, because obviously, you're a teacher and you're trying to educate them in your subject area, but you're involved with them in different classrooms and you're seeing the teaching practice of your peers and, obviously those conversations that relate to their parents and what they're up to outside of school too. So it's a very rewarding position to be in there. So yeah, I've been there for about now. think nearly 15 years at Marist College Cogra, and in the role of leader of wellbeing for nearly 9 now.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So what are some of your, like, in terms of using digital technology, like you've mentioned, already briefly about how you got, some projects to help you get that award. What are other sort of projects with digital technology that you have used that you like to sort of like fall back on, and you see that, they continuously have positive outcomes for learning?
Yeah, look, I'll start off with what I actually think is one of the easiest ones that a lot of people don't know much about, and it's actually within Google Classroom. Google Classroom, if you get the app on your tablet, when you go to actually mark students' assignments, you can annotate, you can actually write on the student's work and it converts it into a PDF. That's one for the past few years, I think has been a big difference maker for my senior classes, because I can get them to do past papers and essays, and then I can actually just write all over them as if, they'll give me the paper form, So once again, that was a practice that I started during COVID. And
Mhm.
then I've just kept it going now because it was just so efficient. So Google Classroom, the little pencil at the top corner when you get the app version, I highly recommend that for feedback, because feedback is so important, whether it be formative, summative, for an assessment, not for an assessment practice. I find that's a really good go-to, and we all have access to it. Usually through most schools, you've got a Google account, and so do the students. It's already set up for us. It's just you probably have to download the app to your tablet. So that would be one of my biggest ones there. Um, the second one that I find very supportive, and look, this can be using Google Docs, and I know I'm staying within the Google Suite, but actually within your programs, linking your digital resources. So using hyperlinks to actually link everything there so that you're not always looking for things or you have to type in things manually. Everything's just a kind of a click button away. The longer you spend on embedding these, firstly, whether into your programs, it makes it easier for planning and moving forward. But then the next level beyond that would be if you actually are building online platforms for your classes. And I know a lot of schools are at different places in this, and the one that I've seen the most success with, or my system has shown me, is Canvas, and building Canvas websites. That could be the basis of your program too, and that you're actually creating your scope and sequence within there as a series of lessons, and then linking in resources and embedding them into the site too. So I find that's actually a great tool for integrating the digital resources, as you're mentioning, because there is so many resources out there and so many providers right now. So they've been kind of the key things I've been doing over these past few years that have helped me with my classroom teaching, and just then also preparing students for upcoming things to help them with their own success.
Oh, awesome. Thanks so much for that, Chris. Um, do does do a lot of teachers at your school, then follow your example to do with technology integration then?
Yeah, look, to certain degrees based on their own digital literacy there and what they're comfortable with. Like, obviously, everyone has their own teaching ways and styles, which makes them effective as a teacher, and like with me, my bargaining chip is that I've got a strength in digital literacy, but then, other teachers do have their own practices that might be more pen and paper, but then that's where they're excelled and skilled in that area. So it depends on their own digital literacy, but yes, some teachers are wanting to grow in that area, and they do come to me and ask, well, what can we kind of implement in here, and how can we, really grow it? And it's like obviously the biggest one recently, and my school actually did get me to give a workshop on it at our school last year, is AI. AI is coming, and obviously last year there was a lot of panic, wasn't there, Michael?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
There
people
still
worried, where's
is.
it going? There still is, and it's finding that balance, I think, within the classroom. That's going to be the challenge there, because it is a great tool, and it is going to. Our students do have to know them once they finish school. Like, it's going to affect whatever career they're going to go into. So we can't say no, we're not. We can't use it at all. We've got to accept that it's here. But then, how do we monitor it and control it? I guess is the challenge there. So a lot of the presentation was first showing like what is AI and defining it, neural networks and obviously machine learning and all of that, and then just kind of showing how we can use it and how it can be a tool for us as teachers, whether it be for drafting content, creating images and all of that. So the best way to kind of calm ourselves about it is use it ourselves so we know it. Um, Through using AI too, I've kind of learned kind of keywords that can identify that students have been using it in their own assignments. We've got a saying at my school, don't get robusted, because AI loves saying the word robust.
Yes.
Robust scaling things, mitigating things, like they're clearly words that magnified. So that's for us to see, but then also knowing tools as well that can help identify if a piece of work is AI. And I know a lot of platforms are embedding that into them themselves. So that would be the hot one at the moment that people are asking a lot about. How do we use AI? How do we detect AI? Those are the kind of conversations that are going on right now at our school. But look, it's looking to be a very good tool. It's just going to be about responsible and ethical use of AI that is going to be the way. But yeah, tools are popping up all over the place that could be great for teachers in many different faculties.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't, I would agree 100% on that, Chris. Actually, I was just speaking with someone the other day, and yeah, she was doing a presentation on something else, and then she was approached and asked about all about, AI. So it's like, forget that, talk about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
tangent that we're all getting pulled on, isn't it?
absolutely.
What is going on, and like it's even just hard. Like I know, like we're kind of the digital people in our schools, but even us just keeping up to date with it, it's moving at such a rapid and exciting pace. But yeah, it's hard to keep up and know what's going on.
Yes, absolutely. I think that sometimes, you know, it's moving, too fast. Like, in all schools, no matter where you teach, some are more advantaged than others, some have bigger
Yeah,
budgets than others, and so like, well, the big ones that have the biggest budget, go, yes, let's go out to do this and, all that sort of stuff. Then you have all the other, schools that have the, budgets that can't afford that. It's still
yeah,
struggling to sort of, really maximize the use of ICT for learning, with what they've got. And then they got this coming around and say, well, we can't afford that. And but they want to learn about it, but they want to do it, but they can't. So,
yeah.
we're not all in the same boat.
It
I just think we just need to sort of
no.
maybe, take a step at a time, master that, and then work to that, master that, then work to that, step by step. You
Yeah,
know,
it does become an issue of equity within schools, and even a lot of the robotic stuff that's coming out too, and which is going to be merged a lot with AI. Like, yeah, can schools afford to get that technology to teach that to their students? You have a very valid point there that we've got to cater it so that all students can learn and have accessible tools, which we've got to look into to see what's available.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So look, you mentioned AI and some of the issues with that. What other barriers or issues have you come across with technology integration, and what have what have you done to sort of then help to overcome those in the past?
Look, even prior to AI, like I think plagiarism always becomes an issue in the classroom with the students submitting their work, they're copying and pasting their work. So really having to mix up what the assessment tasks will be. So it can't always be like in a report format or something that's written. So like one assessment task will almost always be an oral, whether it be individual or as a group. It's got to be something they have to present, because once you get them up there in front of their peers, then they're on show. They've got to know what they're talking about. And look, the other advantage there is too, some students love that format too, because it gives them that kind of entrepreneur feel, and empowers them that I know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about. This is the idea I'm proposing. So that kind of structure there of really mixing up what the assessment task would be can hopefully help reduce that kind of plagiarism aspect there. Um, the other issue that I think technology often sometimes bring with it, look, it can sometimes just be that information overload. We were in a time where when we went to school, like it was the school library, it was our libraries around, and we'd be getting our resources that way. And then, yeah, the internet was there for us too, but it was still kind of very limited. But now it's just so broad, the amount of sources of information they have, and in many times conflicting. So I think that's sometimes the challenge with technology too. How does a student know what is the right information and where to go? And we teach things to mitigate that by, well, you got to cross reference and find multiple sources that support the statement you have. So I think that that's another big challenge for them, just being able to pick, okay, this is the information that is correct, and that's at an ICT level. But even we see it wider things with media, and they've got their biases there too. So I think that's another one there, that just really narrowing the amount of information that's out there so they know what sources are reliable to there. So that'd be two of the big ones, information overload and plagiarism. They're the ones that, at a technology level. But then if we go beyond the academic side too, there was a recent interview that was out there from the Wall Street Journal. I think I'm trying to remember his last name correctly. I think it was Jonathan Haidt, and he was talking about the impacts of technology just on young people in general, and where he was actually saying things along the lines of how early they get mobile phones and early access to social media, and how that is a major impact on young people's development and just who they are developing as an independent person. And then how people who've gone through that and now in their early 20s kind of wish that element wasn't there, and they could just be a bit more free and be a child a bit longer, without all that social influence in their lives. So social media and mobile phones, we really are trying to pull back. Here in Sydney, the Premier's actually put in supportive policies to kind of keep mobile phones out of school. Has that been the same up there in Queensland?
Um,
Yes.
yeah, it is moving towards that direction, I think. And
Yeah.
I think it is unfortunate, I think, because I believe there is, a lot of value, with using mobile phones. Um, and I think, it's just, um, from my perspective, it's the schools, for providing a lack of professional learning, and not only that, but policies to do with mobile phones in the classroom.
Mm.
And the government, of course, not sort of accepting the research, saying how good it is, and say, look, we'd rather just go down this road and stop this happening, and rather than really help policies, just say put policies in place, educate teachers, get it working that way, instead of, oh, take the easy road and just do this.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate because yeah, now, like I said, in New South Wales, mobile phones can't be used in the classroom.
Yeah.
Where is that everywhere in New South Wales in all schools, or?
So the policy was out that where the no mobile phone in school, it is a policy, but there is flexibility within the school about how they want to implement that policy. And so look, it has been good so far, because look, you've said it, the mobile phone is the ultimate convergent tool. Like you can use it for opening up what times of activities you can do, because you can create video and record podcasts and
Yeah.
do things that weren't possible on it. So it is an amazing tool. So there is still a flexibility in there to have its use in the classroom. But when it comes to things like in the playground and all that, they've got to be away. They can't be
I
out there.
agree,
Yeah,
100% with that.
yeah,
When it's not needed, they don't have a
yeah,
note from the parent saying, this child needs the phone, throughout the whole day, which is, almost unlikely to occur. Then those phones just need to be away, and then when they're going to be used in the classroom, bring them out. I'm sure you've seen as well. There are, you know, examples where they have been used very well. Um,
yeah,
like I've heard of even like special mobile phone pockets sort of things. Put it in pockets, put it in, they can't send a text, anything like that. keep it in the classroom. When they need it, for stuff, take it out, use it, put it away, in the pockets and in the classroom there. So yeah, what can you do these days?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Look, it is good. Yeah. And as you said, education is a key part of that. Educate its responsible use. Here's to use it. And yeah, and programs to support teachers in managing that too. That would be great.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Finally, Chris, I just want to ask you as well, you know, as someone who has obviously, achieved a lot in this area, if you were approached by, a teacher, who may be sitting on the fence, to do with technology integration. Oh, I'm not really keen. I don't believe, that it actually, helps, in learning outcomes so much. Stick to traditional sort of things. What sort of advice or tips would you give that teacher, to sort of help them sort of take that step, to, maybe begin that process of technology integration?
Yep. Look, as I said before, teachers have different skills, and I fully respect that they've got a wide range of skills, and some teachers' skills in different areas vastly supersede my own skills in those areas, and that's what makes them fantastic. But if they were coming to me to talk about, all right, how do I get digital literacy into my programs and to support my students, you really have to sit down with them. You can't just start listing off things to do because they'll be lost. They'll be lost. There's no way to go about it. So I find the best way to support a teacher is, okay, here's what I do. Okay, firstly, show this is my program and see how I have all my things linked in it. And then they can kind of see, I point, I click on things, and then certain applications will open and it'll all be automated through that process there too. Or I might show a PowerPoint presentation and just how it's dynamic and then how information goes on and it follows the syllabus structure. The key thing I have to show to that teacher is doing these things, while they may take a lot of time initially, once I've done it, I've got it for the next 5, 10 years and it's set up, it's ready to go. I think that's the point you really have to sell to teachers, that the digitization aspect makes it more efficient. Now, it makes it more efficient for me to reference and use in my own classrooms, but it also makes it more efficient for me to share resources with my students because they're available, whether it be like they're available for me to find and send out with these, or they're integrated into my Google Classroom or into my Canvas page for my classes. I can reuse that year to year and everything's always set up. So I think that's the key area you got to show. The technology is never here to replace us. That's always out of my head. Even with the AI right now, AI is not going to replace me. Robots are not going to replace me with AI. They can't deal with our teenage students. They're not going to be replacing me anytime soon. AI is, or sorry, digital resources are the tools to support me as a teacher. That's where I'm the expert, and I use these tools in my classroom to help out everyone. And that's what a teacher's got to think. Which of these tools can I use to make me a better teacher? And I think if you sell it that way, they'll come on board. They'll come on board because they'll see it'll make their lives easier and it'll help them as a teacher to teach their students.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for the opportunity to learn from you and your experiences today. And to meet you, in person. It's great to have a chat with you. And if you know of any teachers, that also, integrate technology, who would like to sort of share their experiences, pass on the message that I'm
Yeah.
here, because, I think, as I said earlier, the best sort of, professional learning is when we hear from word of mouth, by example, what others do, how they overcome and things like that. That's the best way. So thank you so
A
much
hundred
for your time.
percent. No, it was a pleasure, Michael. No, look, thank you very much. Okay, it was great coming on here and being able to share our ideas with you. And what you're doing is a great thing. Keep spreading word, and yeah, I'll put it out to my peers, and we'll see what we can find out. Okay.
Thanks, Chris. To learn more about how to successfully integrate technology into your early childhood learning environment, Become a member of the ICT in Education Teacher Academy today and gain instant access to over 80 plus online PD workshops, webinar replays, technology integration lesson plans for early childhood education, and ebooks, all for just $20 per month. You'll find the link below this video in the description.